everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me May or MG if you would like, and today's video is my March wrap-up and April TBR video. This is actually the first of two April TBR videos you're gonna get. This is just my, normal TBR game video, and then you're gonna get a special one tomorrow. But before we get to any TBRs, we have to do my March wrap-up, and my March reading was kind of all over the place, so why don't we just get right into it. Okay, so Chloe has jumped into my lap, so we're gonna hope she doesn't, mess me up trying to film this. We're gonna get into the first book that I read in March, and that was Richard III by William Shakespeare. I gave this a 4 out of 10. I just don't think the histories are for me. It was entertaining, it was fine, just wasn't really my, cup of tea. Then I picked up An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon, and I ended up DNFing this at page 26. I just did not know what I was getting into with this. I really didn't know, Chloe's ears are poking up. I didn't know, the genre or anything. I knew absolutely nothing going into it, and it ended up not really being my thing. That's kind of a pattern you'll see going into this month. There's several books that I picked up not really knowing about them, and they ended up not being my thing. But yes, Unkindness of Ghosts, DNF'd, not really my thing. Then I read The Icebound Land by John Flanagan. This is the third book in the Ranger's Apprentice series, one of my favorite series of all time. If you've been here for the past couple of months, you know I'm reading a book a month this year, and a third month, I read the third book. It was great. I loved it. Not really much else to say. Okay, I had to kick Chloe out because she was messing with too much stuff. Hopefully she doesn't come scratch at the door, but if she does, we're just gonna ignore it like we usually do. Anyway, the next book I picked up was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is my friend AJ's copy. It is quite beat up, much more beat up than any of my books would be, but that's fine. They work at a swim school teaching little kids how to swim, so their stuff gets wet. It's fine. Anyway, they let me borrow this. It's one of their favorite books of all time, and I gave this a 7 out of 10. I had a much better time reading this than I expected. It was also much harder to read than I expected. There's something in this book that really hit a personal place for me, and it's no one's fault. I didn't know that subplot was in here. My friend didn't really know what I was going through at the time. It's just everything coming together to make me very, very sad, and I cried a lot, but I still thought this was a very, very good book, and I'm glad I read it, and I would definitely read more from Casey McQuiston in the future. Then I picked up So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens as the J&R book club pick for March, and I gave this a 9 out of 10. I thought it was so good. I had a little bit of a hard time, getting into it, but after, the first couple of chapters, I was, so in love with it. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time, and it was, very cheesy and predictable, but still really, really good. Those aren't negative things against it. I still had a fantastic time reading this. Then I read yet another queer book, and that was Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I don't know why I can't remember that name, but I gave this an 8 out of 10. This was really, really good. It follows a trans boy during the apocalypse, and there's body horror and stuff, and I love body horror. I like horror in general, but that gross stuff is really my thing. And also this cover, absolutely amazing, one of my favorites, and I just had a really, really good time reading this. Then we come to another book that I didn't know anything about going into it and ended up not being my thing, and that is A Curse in Ash by Julie Zotopoulos, and I DNF'd this at about 50 or 60 pages in. It's just no fault of the writing. I thought the writing was really good. I just didn't like the premise. It's fae stuff, which I knew, but the main character is not a detective, but she's a consultant kind of thing for a detective agency that deals with magical cases, and I really don't like that kind of book. And I also was not the biggest fan of the other POV character, Riordan, and I'm just I don't want to end up reading this and end up giving it a bad score. It's better for me just not to read it because I'm not the target audience. I don't enjoy those kinds of stories, so I DNF'd it. Then I read both Cinder and Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. These are books 1 and 2 in the Lunar Chronicles. I don't own Cinder. This is the only one in the series that I own. I found it in a free little library, and I actually really, really enjoyed these. They are so good. I gave them both an 8 out of 10, and for 2012, like, sci-fi YA, like, these stand up. Like, they held out really well and aged well, in my opinion. Like, you know how you read books from that era and then they're, like, kind of cringy now, and, like, some stuff didn't really age well? I thought these aged very well, and I had a fantastic time, and I very much look forward to reading the rest of the series one day. Then, to fit the buzzword challenge for the month, I read The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, and I gave it a 6 out of 10. I can see why this is a book that you make, like, in elementary school kids read in school, like 4th, 5th grade, I think is when I first read it. It just isn't my thing now, and, like, it definitely has merit, and I can see, like I said, I can see why they teach it in schools. I just kind of wish I hadn't read it as an adult and left it as a book I read as a kid. And then I picked up The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, and I gave this a 7 out of 10. This was wild. I'm still not entirely sure of, like, the plot of this book. Like, it's very, very fun. It's just got so many moving parts that it's kind of all over the place, and I was very lost for most of it, but still having a good time. And I'd never read this before. I haven't seen any of the movies, but, like, maybe I will watch one of the movies. I know Logan Lerman is in one of them, and I really like Logan Lerman, so I might watch that. But yes, those are my thoughts on The Three Musketeers. And those are all of the books that I've read in the month, but I have two more to talk about. The first is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is the ARC that I've owned since 2015, and I still have yet to buy a finished copy. I know, I'll get to it. But I am currently reading this. This is one of the Tome Travelers book club picks, so obviously I'm going to read it for that, and also just because I really love this book. I'm having a good time. This is probably my 4th time reading this, maybe my 5th, and I really, really like it. Otherwise I wouldn't have read it that many times. I really like Naomi Novik as a writer, and I'm having a good time. And then once I finish this, I am hoping to pick up volume 19 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I still have to buy my copy. It just came out maybe 5 or 6 days ago, but I'm gonna squeeze it in right at the end of the month. Okay, so now we come to the portion of this video where I find out how many books I will be reading in April for this TBR game and pulling the cards to give me the prompts for those books. Now, I have a very specific and very long list of books that I want to get to in April for a very important reason that you will find out tomorrow in that video. So I'm hoping for a low number of rolls and very forgiving cards. There are a few cards in here that if I pull, I'm not going to do them. Like, I just cannot. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, but I have thought up a new rule for my game to allow for that, because it's my game and I can make up rules whenever I want. So if that happens, I will explain to you, like, what the new rule is. If it doesn't, then I won't, probably, because I'll explain it whenever it becomes necessary. Anyway, I have my D4 here. We're gonna hope for low rolls. The least amount that I can get in this game is a 3, so we're gonna hope for that. So I have my little tray that I'm gonna roll into, and roll my die, and I got a 1. You can't see that. I got a 1, which means I have to re-roll and add. So let's see. And I got a 3. So that's 4 total. Okay, not the least amount. Pretty low. So I'm going to be pulling 4 cards. Okay, so I have my cards here. And I have pre-shuffled them, but just so that you know, I'm not cheating. I'm not putting specific cards up top. I'm going to split the deck and then pull my 4 cards. So here, let's split it. Let's do this. We'll put this chunk in the middle. Yeah, oh, I'm very nervous. So let's pull the first of 4 cards, and it is the Bard. Ooh, okay. This could work. This could work. The second one is the Rogue. Don't remember what the prompts for that one is. We'll find out. These 2 cards actually look like the color scheme is very nice together. The third card is the Three of Fiends. This one might be trouble. Chloe is scratching at the door. Let's just pull the 4th and final card, and then I will figure out what the prompts are for your books I'm reading and get back to you. So we have the 3 of Giants. Ooh, The 4 of Giants is one that I definitely did not want to get. 3 of Giants might be okay. I'll come back and we'll figure this out. Okay, so we're going to introduce that new rule now. I cannot find anything for the 3 of Fiends that is already on my list of books to read, and I just do not have the space to be adding more. So what I'm introducing is a postponement. I don't know exactly what to call it, but basically Chloe very much wants to get in the bedroom, so I'm gonna try and be quick. I pulled this for April. We're gonna postpone this till May. I'm not completely vetoing it. We're just pushing it off, and I'm gonna pull another card to replace it. So here's my deck. The card is the Ranger. Okay? Don't remember what this means. Hopefully it's better, because I'm only gonna allow myself 1 postponement per month, just to keep things simple. We'll see. I'll be right back. Okay, Chloe has been let back in the room, and she's approaching me. We're gonna try and get this done quickly. So, for the Bard, the prompt is either the first book in a series or a new-to-me author, and for that I'm going with Hello, Chloe. The Wizards of Once by Cressida Cowell. This would actually count for both prompts, because this is the first book in a series, and I've also never read this author before, but yes, this is the matchup I'm going for. Then we have The Rogue, which is out of my comfort zone or a genre I don't usually reach for, and I'm going to go with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This also would have worked for first book in a series, but sci-fi isn't really a genre I tend to reach for. I really like it, I just don't go for it super often. Ma'am, you are messing me up. Put her on the floor, and hope she stays there. Then we have The 3 of Giants, and that is a book between 401 and 600 pages. For that, I'm going with Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Zambury. She's thick. She is, I think, 498 pages, so we're right in the middle of that page range. Perfect. I'm very glad I didn't get The 4 of Fiends, which is a book over 600 pages, because I would not have been able to fulfill that. Then, for The Ranger. This prompt is either a standalone or an author's debut novel, and for that I'm going with Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. This book has very beautiful blue sprayed edges. This also would have worked for a new-to-me author, but I'm using it here because this is a standalone, so I'm very glad that I only had to switch out one, because that's my rule, is that I'm only going to switch out one, and that I could fit books that I planned on reading next month anyway. So, we're not going to do a wrap-up like showing the stack like we usually do, because Chloe's kind of in the way. Instead, I'm just going to bid you farewell here, and come back tomorrow, if you're watching this the day it comes out, for another TBR video where you'll see why I had to pick the books that I did for these prompts. So, goodbye, have a good day, remember to like, comment, subscribe. I don't know what my outro is anymore. Chloe is throwing me for a loop, but goodbye.